Good evening, good evening, good evening, everyone. How you doing? I appreciate you entertaining my nephew as I was out and about, getting outside, getting a little fresh air. Appreciate you entertaining him and his interesting viewpoints. Checking out my closet. Seems like my nephew likes using some of my gear and using some of my clothes, but it's all good. It's all family, right? Denmark Dubois Douglas again from the mothership, and I said when I came back, when I returned, we were going to get right back into the Gottman study. 30,000 couples studied phrases that you should be utilizing, you should be incorporating into your vocabulary with your mate. If you know, relationships and strengthening relationships and maintaining relationships, if that's important to you, then take heed. Now, if you remember, once again, turning attack and defend into self-disclosure and openness. Just a quick recap. We talked about I feel, okay? These 6 phrases, the first 3 that we covered, I feel. You use this when you need help expressing your emotions in the moment. Not going to go through all of them. You can catch that in the later episode or the previous episode when we talked about turning attack and defend into self-disclosure and openness. But I'm getting scared of losing you. That's what you're scared of. And once again, men folk, I hope you're listening. All right, this seems easy for the ladies to say, but difficult for us to say. I'm sorry, I digress. Let me continue with the recap. So I feel I need to calm down. You use this when you start feeling flooded and need a moment of repair. Can I have a hug? I love that because physical touch is so primitive. And it determines and it says a lot. If you can give me a hug, if we can hug one another in light of whatever it is we're disagreeing about, isn't that a hell of a way to just take a pause and say, hey, let's take a step back and wow, how powerful is that? Let you know what's going on in your relationship, right? The third one that we talked about, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I'm sorry. We can go over and over, we can go over that over and over again, can't we? Ad nauseum. I'm sorry. Some of the examples that I like, I really blew that one. I want to be gentler to you right now, and I don't know how. I want to be gentler to you right now, but I don't know how. I was never taught that. Because us men, from a very early age, we were taught to be in a box. You don't cry. You don't show your emotions. You don't say, I'm scared. Oh no. Men aren't allowed to say that. Men aren't allowed to express those emotions. It's bullshit, but you know, whatever. When you have to say, I'm sorry. How can I make things better? Another key phrase. Now, moving on to the last 3. Stop action. Use this when you are flooded and need a break. I might be wrong here. Please let's stop for a while. Give me a moment. I'll be back. Just need to decompress a little bit. Let's start all over again, if that's possible. Let's agree to disagree here, the Gottman suggests, saying, I'm feeling flooded. Can we take a break and talk about something else for a bit? This is starting to overwhelm me. I'm starting to feel suffocated. Can we exhale and chill for a minute and then revisit? Okay. Number 5, getting to yes. Use this when you want to validate. Let me repeat that. When you want to validate your partner and meet them halfway. Isn't that the goal? Isn't that the objective? You're starting to convince me, although there really shouldn't be. This is not some type of negotiation. There really shouldn't be any convincing there. I may disagree with that one, but that's just my pet peeve. I agree with part of what you're saying. Let's compromise here. I never thought of things that way. I never thought of it from that perspective. Men, are you listening? I think your point of view makes sense. Well, of course it does. You're not talking to an idiot. Of course it makes sense. Okay? I don't know if I agree with that one either. What are your concerns? Share them with me, and then let me paraphrase to make sure I'm hearing correctly. All right? Before I just start running off at the mouth, not knowing what the hell you're talking about or where it is you're coming from. And finally, I love this one. 30,000 couples, successful couples use this phrase over and over again. I appreciate when you want to make a repair and add positivity. Can you be positive, fool? You know how to be positive? The best one is at the top. I love you. They say I understand. I don't like that. I can empathize. Because maybe you don't understand. Maybe you don't understand from their perspective. You would understand it from your perspective, but not necessarily from theirs, okay? One thing I admire about you is this is not your problem. This is our problem. Thank you for, and the last one that they suggest using, I see your point after interviewing 30,000 couples. I see your point, okay? Just some closing thoughts. It can also take the form of empathy or validation. That makes sense when you put it that way. The most basic repair is a straightforward apology. I'm sorry. Okay. Now, if it's something that you're doing over and over and over again, eventually those apologies are going to ring hollow, fool. You know what I'm saying? Can't keep making someone you know better do better. Miss Maya Angelou says, don't keep coming at me with apologies and you keep doing the same, keep repeating the same shit over and over and over again. Save that for your mama, okay? Remember, what determines the success or failure of a relationship is how you each respond to the repair. If I say I'm sorry, you say, oh, you ain't sorry. Well, shit, why would I say I'm sorry? I'm trying to make repairs. I'm trying to do better. Oh, you ain't trying to do better. You keep saying the same. If you're trying to do better, then okay, so it all depends on how the other responds. That's going to make the big difference. But if you respond with some of these phrases, you're certainly off to a good start. All right, that's all I have for you from the mothership. Going to continue to get into relationships. Going to continue to talk about self-talk, what it is, why we always tell ourselves stories that are so negative. Why do we do that? Instead of seeing ourselves for the beautiful creatures that we are, we look at ourselves and say, ugh, I don't. I love my fro. I love my clothes. I love everything about me. All right? As Jill Scott would say, I am golden, fool. Make no mistake about it. Okay? Love y'all. Peace, love, and happiness. Until next time, from the mothership, Denmark Dubois Douglas. Y'all take care.